here to begin as a subcommittee of the committee to begin to hear testimony on our first bill. We're going to ask our first author, Senator Bill Monning, to come present SB 657. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members. Thank you for the opportunity to present SB 657. I'd like to begin by accepting the committee's suggested amendment to have the sunset coincide with Diablo Canyon Unit 2 license expiration date. As amended, Senate Bill 657 codifies and requires the California Public Utilities Commission to convene an independent peer review panel to conduct an independent review of enhanced seismic studies and surveys of the Diablo Canyon nuclear power plant until August 26, 2025. The panel was created by an August 2010 PUC decision in order to provide independent expertise on PG&E's seismic evaluations on Diablo Canyon and provide recommendations and comments on these complex issues. The urgency in this bill is necessary because the panel's contract is set to expire on November 30th of this year, even though there is still work to be done and possibly more work on the horizon. Given that seismic reviews will continue and federal reevaluation is underway, California would be best served if the panel could continue its important work. My district includes Diablo Canyon, and my constituents need to be assured that the reviews and oversight are in place, especially with mounting concerns about the plant's seismic vulnerability. Furthermore, the accident at the Fukushima nuclear power plant in Japan had a devastating impact on the surrounding communities, and it should remind us that keeping a watchful eye on the risk, while not easy, is absolutely necessary. SB 657 is a responsible state action to ensure independent peer review of the Diablo Canyon power plant to enhance the seismic safety on the plant and to protect the public safety. Members, I'd respectfully ask for your aye vote and would like, through the chair, to present our first witness, Karen Lang, on behalf of the County of San Luis Obispo. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members. Karen Lang on behalf of the San Luis Obispo County Board of Supervisors. They're very, very engaged and very interested in what the panel comes up with. They feel it's important to enshrine this in the statute, given the important work that's being done and how critical it is to ensure that public safety is preserved in the event something occurs at the plant. So we urge your aye vote today and thank the author for taking this on.
Rochelle Becker, the Alliance for Nuclear Responsibility. We have attended all the public independent peer review panel meetings. We find them to be invaluable as far as information that will flow to our community from the review of these PG&E seismic studies. We lobbied for the committee, we lobbied for the bill that created the committee, and we're here today to lobby for the continuation of the funding of that committee. We were a bit surprised at the last meeting to hear PG&E say that their seismic studies might not be complete until 2024, 2025. If that is the case, we need to have these independent eyes from the Coastal Commission, the Energy Commission, the Geologic Survey, the Public Utilities Commission on the prize. We need to have them looking over PG&E's shoulder. The last time we didn't, it was $4 billion in cost overruns. Thank you.
Kent Kaus with Pacific Gas and Electric. We are in support of amend position. As noted, the seismic work does continue forever. It's not anything that ever has a end date to it, so we support the continuation of the independent peer review panel. We would suggest two amendments. One is consistent with what is in AB 361, a bill that's coming to this committee dealing with funding for local emergency preparedness response. The amendment would simply allow for cost recovery of the costs of the independent peer review panel in statute, similar to 361. And then the second issue is on the independence of the peer review panel. We've suggested that members would be prohibited from serving on the independent review panel if they had either been a party as an intervener, either in support or opposition to issues associated with Diablo Canyon. That protection is similar to provisions that exist in other independent review panels associated with Diablo Canyon. With those amendments, we'd be in full support. Thanks.
Mr. Chairman and members, Nick Zanjani with the Public Utilities Commission in strong support of the bill. Diablo Canyon is our last existing nuclear safety plant. Making sure that it's as safe as humanly possible is a key priority of ours moving forward. So we think this is a great bill and we urge your support.
Very well. Do we have any members of the public? Beginning with opposition, is there any opposition out there? Do we have anybody that would like to register their support for the bill? Okay. Anybody in the committee like to make any comments, motions?
We have a quorum.
Okay, you know what? We have a quorum, so let's establish, very good. Let's establish a quorum.
Hueso?
Present?
Hueso here. Fuller? Here. Fuller here. Canela? Hertzberg? Hill? Here. Hill here. Lara? Leva? McGuire? Here. McGuire here. Morel? Here. Morel here. Pavley? Wolk? Here. Wolk here. Okay.
Very well. We have a motion. Thank you, Senator Wolk. Clerk, please call the roll.
Due pass is amended to appropriations SB 657. Hueso?
Aye.
Hueso I. Fuller? Aye. Fuller I. Canela? Hertzberg? Hill? Aye. Hill I. Lara? Leva? Aye. Leva I. McGuire? Aye. McGuire I. Morel? Aye. Morel I. Pavley? Wolk? Aye. Wolk I. So 7-0. Place it on call.
7-0, we'll leave that bill on call, and we'll wait for absent members. Who do we have absent?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Laura, okay. Thank you, Senator. Assemblymember Dodd? Welcome, good morning.
Morning.
You're presenting on AB 568?
Yes, sir. Morning, Mr. Chair and members. AB 568 is a bill granting Reclamation District 108 the authority to provide, generate, and deliver electric power and to construct any works of improvement necessary for the generation of electric power. RD 108 is located along the western edge of the Sacramento River in my district and delivers water to nearly 48,000 acres of farmland within southern Colusa and northern Yolo County. Energy is a significant operating expense for RD 108. Water and recycled water enters and leaves the district through a number of pumping facilities. Potential future water storage facilities in the vicinity of RD 108 present opportunities for the district to develop power from low-cost, clean hydroelectric generation. Generation of hydroelectric power benefits the environment as well as RD 108 customers. AB 568 simply provides the authority to develop clean and cost-effective hydroelectric power should that resource become available in the future, which helps agricultural interests in my district as well as the environment. I ask for your aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have, did you want to speak?
Yes, please. Son, yeah. My name is Louis Spear. I'm the general manager for RD 108, and this bill would provide us, as Assemblyman Dodd mentioned, the hydropower authority for the district. We expend about $1 million a year on power, and we're very interested in this opportunity. There are only about 4 reclamation districts in California that actually operate as an irrigation and water district, and one of those has already been granted this authority, so it's kind of consistent with what's happening there, and so we certainly would appreciate your support on this bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm Todd Manley with the Northern California Water Association. We also support this bill, and I'd also like to note that it's also supported by both Yolo and Colusa counties as well. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any presentation on the opposition from the opposition? Do we have any members of the public who'd like to speak in support of the bill? Anyone's like to speak in opposition to the bill? Any opposition out there? Okay, very well. Senator Wolk?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Welcome, Mr. Dodd. You and I have talked about this bill. We represent the same area. When I saw this bill on Friday, I had concerns about having a reclamation district take on this power. You're correct, Mr. Baer, when you say that reclamation districts aren't formed for this purpose. And one is the only one I know about that has the power and hasn't used it, and that's 1004. Can you tell me about Reclamation District 1004, where it is, and what it does, and why it hasn't used the power that it obtained in 1984?
So the
RD 1004 is adjacent to Colusa, so they're on the east side of the Sacramento River in Colusa, and they still have intent to use the hydro authority. They have a small hydro project that they have looked into doing. It's kind of a pet project of one of the board presidents there, and they just haven't exercised that authority to complete that project. But they still intend to use it.
And do they work on levees? Is that what they do currently with their authority?
So RD certainly started in the late 1800s as they built levees and then drainage were their two primary purposes. And then in 1917, there was what was called the Reclamation Reform Act, which gave us the irrigation authorities, very similar to irrigation and water districts. And I suspect that hydro wasn't the primary purpose at that time, but it was the the legislation was very vague related to hydro authorities, but it essentially gave all the irrigation and water district authorities, but left them some of their original language with formation and voting that was associated with their original drainage and flood control responsibilities.
Okay. And so the reason for joining this JPA and you are in the JPA, are you not?
That's correct. We're one of the 7 members of the site's JPA.
And so why do you need this other power?
So the site, in particular, this one opportunity that RD 108's looking at, site's reservoir will pump water. It's an off-stream storage reservoir, so we would like water supply from the project, and as an investor in the water supply, there is a hydroelectric component to the project. JPA operates to its lowest common powers. Everybody else has hydro authority. So because of our formation situation, we would be disadvantaged. We'd be in the footprint of the project, then possibly would have to be some sort of secondary investor or not be able to be an investor in the project at all, even though it was in our own backyard.
So what is the project?
So SITE's project that we're talking about is an off-stream storage project where hydro comes into play in this project. As you pump the water up in the winter, acts a lot like a battery because you're pumping in the winter, and then you'd be releasing the water back into the system in the summer when we need energy. So it's actually very positive. The other aspect of hydro associated with sites is the possibility of pump storage, which in our area would be very helpful with renewable energies. It's very difficult to have quick spin energy that's necessary for some of the renewable energy sources that aren't as reliable as some of our traditional methods. So you know, the pump back ability of a hydro facility is uniquely equipped to meet that demand on the system and support green energy.
So do you foresee the ratepayers then of these 6 entities, including your own, paying for the construction of the plant?
Yeah, as a part of the project, I think it'll actually be much broader than the site's JPA supporting the project. The JPA was originally founded to help promote, kind of get the project off the ground. There's been some initial outreach for investors as well as with local landowners, but I would expect the pool of investors to be much larger than the current JPA makeup.
Mm-hmm. Do you foresee some of the $1 billion, the $2.7 billion in public goods, in the public for public benefits that are being promoted for storage projects somewhere in the state being tapped for some of this?
I certainly hope so. I think the environment clearly this year we're seeing that needs additional water supply, and it's our position as our district that as much of that water supply can help support environmental purposes as possible, which would mean we'd reach out for bond funds on that project to help support those environmental purposes.
All right. And my last question has to do with the size of the plant, which is, I think, proposed to be 125 megawatts plus transmission lines up and over the hill. What about transparency? You know, having chaired governance and finance for 5 years, one of the major problems with water agencies and JPAs, frankly, is the absence of some accountability and public process. I mean, are your ratepayers aware of the magnitude of what you're proposing, and you know, what's the process?
Yeah, no, thanks for that question. There actually is we're pretty fortunate on the JPA. As you know, 2 of the members are actually the counties.
Mm-hmm.
And so a couple of our county supervisors have taken the lead role in landowner outreach. So we've actually held a series of meetings. I think there were more than a dozen meetings with landowners. So there were actually one-on-one type of meetings with landowners in the footprint of the reservoir, and then there's a pipeline and transmission line from the Sacramento River up. And there were actually several adjustments made to the local JPA alternative to accommodate those issues. So I think that's actually the strongest element of our project is the local outreach to landowners and those in the footprint.
All right. Mr. Chair, thank you, and to the committee for allowing me to ask these questions. I think it's really important that the sunset was added in the Assembly, and I'd like to see that remain. Frankly, I'd like to see it a little bit shorter than 5 years, because you'll know pretty quickly whether this project is going to have any legs or not. I think it's really unusual to give a reclamation district this authority. I do know that 108 is well run. There's no doubt about that with respect to its tasks as defined by the Reclamation Act. But, I think, given the sunset, I think I would be willing to see this move forward. But I really encourage you to focus on the transparency and the accountability. People have to know this is an expensive project. There's going to be operation and maintenance, and there really needs to be very strong transparency. This is not referred to governance and finance, is it? All right. Well, yeah, I'll be supporting this for my colleague, Mr. Dodd, who I think does a pretty good job, a very good job, actually, and because of my confidence in 108. But again, I have real concerns about the transparency issues involving this kind of ratepayer money and, how the larger project is going to fit into the basic needs of the state. So I'll be glad.
Just we looked at this
yes, and I
proposal as
appreciate
well.
that. Yeah, I appreciate it.
And I have to just chime in that you'll probably see more projects like this one coming forward in the future. As you see, our energy charts display surplus amounts of energy. When that surplus creates itself, there's going to be a drop in the price of that energy. In many cases, there'll be no place to put it. And so you'll see other districts across the state try to tap into that opportunity to use that energy somehow for the benefit of the ratepayers to later be able to derive a revenue source that can help them.
True. But they're going to tap public funds to put this together. The project will not make sense without those public funds. So that may be very different.
Like anything else, I expect that it'll make sense over a longer period of time as they start to see revenue from that investment and overall help the district. And anytime we have public agencies that are finding creative ways to get revenue in the long run, I think that's, we have to at least give them the opportunity. And of course, we know we have the locals there that are going to provide oversight. We know we have Assemblymember Dodd that's going to, and we have a 5-year, I'm sure you'll be here for 5 years and through that. We hope so. I know we, at least we'll be here for some of those, and we'll continue to work to hold, to expect the kind of return that we're
I'll be
getting
glad to
from
move
this.
the item, Mr. Chair.
We have a motion. Thank you. Did you want to make any closing remarks?
Respectfully ask for your aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you, clerk. Please call the roll.
It's fine.
AB 568 do pass to the floor. Wesso?
Aye.
Wesso, aye. Fuller? Fuller, aye. Canella? Hertzberg? Hill?
Aye.
Hill, aye. Laura? Laura, aye. Leyva? Leyva, aye. McGuire? McGuire, aye. Morel? Morel, aye. Pavley? Wolk?
Aye.
Wolk, aye.
I'm going to make a little change in our agenda in terms of hearing order. We've had Assemblymember Rendon waiting here. We don't expect his bill should take too long if you want to come forward and present. Thank you. That bill is,
On call 8-0.
we have, that bill is out.
On call. On call.
On call. Hertzberg's still out. Well, we're going to put your bill on call. It has 8 votes, but it's as good as out.
Do you want to do the consent calendar?
I'll do that later.
Okay, all right. Sorry, I'm talking to myself.
Assemblymember.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning. AB 1119 is a bill about parity, and it gives it's about parity between cities and counties, and gives counties the same authority to challenge development projects that encroach upon their territory, upon their unincorporated county territory that cities enjoy. This bill is in response to a recent legal case in LA County where a court held that a county does not qualify as a municipal corporation and therefore could not challenge a project that encroached upon its territory and would have potentially displaced and disrupted county populations. AB 1119 provides counties with the same tools that cities have to challenge and engage with infrastructure developments in their own territory. This will not affect the City of LA case or any future decisions related to that case. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. Did you want to provide any testimony?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is William Winter. I'm with Los Angeles County Department of Public Works. As Assemblymember Rendon noted, the purpose of the bill simply is to create that equity in how decisions, when disagreement, and the rare occasions that disagreements arise between cities and counties on utility infrastructure being built in a county highway, that there's an equal standard under the law in which that conflict is resolved. So I'm here simply to express my support as well for AB 1119.
Okay, anybody else in support? Do we have anybody who'd like to speak in opposition? Did you support? Okay, just state your position. Do we have anybody speaking in opposition? Could we just show a hand or no? Okay, you can be brief.
Good morning. Kiana Bess on behalf of the California State Association of Counties in support.
Okay, very good.
Mr. Chair, members, Julian Voris on behalf of the Urban Counties Caucus in strong support.
Okay, nobody's opposed to equality? Nobody's opposed to equality? Anyway.
Move the bill, Mr. Chair.
We have a motion. Did you want to close?
I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. Clerk, please call the roll.
Due pass to Governance and Finance, Wesso.
Aye.
Wesso, I. Fuller.
Aye.
Fuller, I. Canella. Hertzberg. Hill. Hill, I. Lara. Lara, I. Leva. Leva, I. McGuire. McGuire, I. Morel. Morel, I. Pavley. Wolk. Wolk, I.
Okay, we'll put that one on call as well, but it looks like it has enough votes to get out. We'll wait for our absent members to chime in.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We'll ask Assemblymember Quirk.